Good evening, YouTube. Team Paisano in full effect. Say hello, Genevieve.
Hi, I don't want to be here. I'm joking.
Hard
Hey,
work.
Queens.
Yeah, okay, that's more like it.
There isn't tons of shit.
We're going to talk about the group Yes in their third studio album called The Yes Album. How creative, huh? The Yes Album. They put a lot of thought into that one.
Yes.
But this is the first album of all original compositions by the band. And the band at the time, which is the classic lineup, John Anderson on vocals and percussion, the great Chris Squire, one of the great bass players of all time, on bass guitars and vocals, Steve Howe, fantastic guitarist, electric and acoustic guitars, Tony Kaye was here on piano, organ, and Moog synthesizer, and the great Bill Bruford on drums. What a band. What a band. This is what is known as a prog classic. Prog, short for progressive rock, progressive music of the late 60s and early 70s. A lot of these groups had classical training, especially the ones that played the keyboards, and if they included any woodwind instruments, such as like Jethro Tull and King Crimson. They both had woodwind instrument players in the group, and they all were very accomplished musicians. And like I said, it's the third studio album. They had two previous that had some covers on them, and not very successful, but Atlantic stuck with them, and they produced a winner with this one, and they were winners going forward, no doubt. This was just the first in a string of great albums. What do you think of this?
I'm shivering in my timbers.
Gigantic Yes fan here.
I'm shivering
All
in my
day.
timbers
Yes,
for the
yes,
album.
yes. I love Yes. Right, you see the group there posing with some mannequin heads. See that?
Ew.
And on the back, the mannequin head just floating above the chair. Very artsy, very creative. And I think John Anderson's foot. No, British. John Anderson's foot is in a
cast. The
cast.
mannequin heads?
No, it's just very artsy. Very. There's the great Tony Kaye on the keyboards, and the various members of the band. Relaxing, and on stage, Chris Squire, fantastic bass player. I did see Yes in 1987, and a lot of these guys were still there. John Anderson, Trevor Rabin was doing the guitar playing at that time, but Chris Squire was there, and I remember walking into the place, and I had to use the men's room before I went to my seat, and they hit the stage, and Chris Squire's bass, I could feel it in my chest. That's how thunderous.
In my chest.
I could feel it. It was that thunderous. It was very, very dramatic. One of the great bass players of all time. And let's go over the track listing, shall we? Well, before we do that, let's talk about
we need to talk about subscriptions.
Genevieve's favorite subject, subscriptions. If you're new to the channel, welcome. We talk about
rock and roll.
We talk about rock and roll here. Well said, my dear. And if you've been watching for some time and leeching off my extensive musical knowledge,
you will be sent to the shivers of the timbers.
The trenches.
The trenches, all that.
Yeah, don't do that.
So watch
don't
out.
do that. Just
Stop
subscribe.
freeloading.
You're acting like it costs something to subscribe. It doesn't cost anything to subscribe, right?
Real.
Maybe we should start charging to subscribe. Get a, what they call a Patreon type for exclusive access into the behind the scenes. Yeah, maybe we should do that. See if that puts a different spin on things. I would never do that. Never in a million years. This is strictly for fun, right? You can tell how much fun we're having. All right, let's get to that track listing I promised you. Side 1, Yours Is No Disgrace. The Clap, which is an acoustic instrumental by Steve Howe. Fantastic. Showed off his his talents on the acoustic guitar. And my favorite Yes song, Starship Trooper. All 9 minutes and 23 seconds of it. Comprised of 3 parts. A is called Life Seeker. B is called Disillusion. And C is Worm. W-U-R-M. Side 2, the smash hit, their first real big hit, I've Seen All Good People. That's separated into two parts, Your Move and All Good People. The second song on side 2 is called Adventure, and it finishes up with Perpetual Change, which is an excellent song. Very long, 8 minutes and 50 seconds. Yours Is No Disgrace is 9 minutes and 36 seconds. So there's technically only 6 songs on here, coming in at, all 3 of them around the 9-minute mark. But the album played very well. I've owned it forever. I do have one other Yes album that has yet to be reviewed. We'll be doing that shortly because I'd say we're about 50 or 60 albums away from the vinyl being done, and then we're going to start on the CDs and then the cassettes.
Slay.
So you're going to see a lot of Paisano over the next couple years. This was recorded in autumn of 1970. Produced by Yes and Eddie Offord at Advision Studios in London, England. The clap was a live cut, recorded at the Lyceum in London. Came out on Atlantic. Let's take a look at the vinyl, shall we? Hands are glowing, glistening in the light from coconut oil. Very dry up here in the Northeast, wintertime. Dries out Paisano's hands. My delicate hands. Here we go. The classic Atlantic label. Great signing for Atlantic. They took a chance and they stuck with them. So Atlantic had some big signings in 69, 70. Led Zeppelin, Yes. Just to name a couple. Big signings. A great time for that record company. All right. I think that's going to do it for this one. Join us on Monday night. Here it comes, people. The Pittsburgh Pirates hat. We're going to give it a little shake-a-rooney. Genevieve is going to stick her fingers in there. And we're going to draw an album. And next Saturday night, it's already the 1st of March, my goodness. So next Saturday will be the 8th of March. We're just cruising right along here. And on the evening of March 8th, I'm going to give you my honest and heartfelt thoughts on the album that we draw on Monday night. Until then, YouTube, Team Paisano wishes you a good evening. Adios. Say goodnight, John.
Toodles.